Right, so we are still moving on. We are still moving on with our causes of the First World War. And our port of call today is the Bosnian crisis. I think all along we have been addressing, like when we even touched the what? Like when we even touched the Moravian crisis of 1905 and 1911 in the past lesson. I think we addressed the issue of the Franco-German hostility emanating. And even how the alliance system started, right? The alliance system started because of the Franco-German hostility. So we said that there are two underlying causes of the First World War. When we're dealing with the cause of the First World War, there are two underlying causes of the First World War. We said the Franco-German hostility, right? Which was necessitated by the what? By the issue of the Alsace-Lorraine. Then number two, we have Balkan nationalism. We have what? Balkan nationalism. These are the two main or the two long-term causes or the two underlying causes of the alliance system. So this Balkan nationalism is what we are going to address today in form of the Bosnian crisis of October 1908. Because the Bosnian crisis from the Bosnia and Herzegovina, which were Balkan states or Slav states found in the Balkan Peninsula. Right, so let's get down to business. Right, so how do we start this Bosnian crisis of 1908? After the Congress of Berlin in 1878, so there was the Berlin Conference, or the Berlin Congress of which year? 1878. So after that Berlin Conference of, it is of what? Of 1878, Austria-Hungary was given the mandate to govern Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and what? Herzegovina. Right. These provinces, I want you to pay attention on this. These provinces belonged to a country called what? Turkey. Turkey was the owner, or Turkey was the one controlling Bosnia and Herzegovina. But according to the Berlin Conference of 1878, Austria-Hungary was given the authority to administer or to supervise, or it was given the mandate, right, to control or the mandate or to just to administer Bosnia and Herzegovina. What am I saying? Let's say I have a house in Bulawayo, then the house is mine. The title deeds prove that the house is mine, but then I would go and live in Australia and live Ryan at that house, taking care of that house. This means Ryan is administering or supervising or mandating. That was the case. So let me try to explain it again. Bosnia and Herzegovina belonged to what? To Turkey. But according to the Berlin Conference, Austria-Hungary was just given the power to administer Bosnia and Herzegovina. So then we have a country called Serbia. Right. Serbia was one of the Balkan states. So Serbia had a dream. Serbia had a dream or a plan of merging or combining with Bosnia and Herzegovina so that they can form one large Slav state called what? Yugoslavia. Tukuti Serbia yanga yagara ine maplans kugara nekugara ekuti ibatane Bosnia and Herzegovina vogadzira zinyika one right Yugoslavia. But that plan was never going to happen kana iyo Bosnia and Herzegovina iri undertaking and also being administered by what? By Austria-Hungary. So in 1908 in Turkey, there happened a revolution called the Young Turk Revolution. The Young Turk what? Revolution. Right. So when that Young Turk Revolution happened, this means that Turkey's attention was now splitted. Let's say I'm Turkey here. I have to look into the issues which are happening in the Balkans. at the same time, I have to look into the issues happening where? In what? In Turkey again. Like, Turkey revolution. Like, the people didn't want the system that was there. So Austria-Hungary took advantage of that. Because Austria-Hungary calculated and saw that Turkey cannot give the same attention to this situation. Let's say Turkey issues and at the same time issues revolution. So that's when Austria-Hungary annexed Bosnia and what? And Herzegovina. Austria-Hungary annexed, we use the word annexed in political science and history to signify the fact that Austria-Hungary yakabva yatora Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ichitora advantage yekuti kuteki kwakaitika chi yakuteki revolution. Yaitoziva kuti teki iti ichadzinganidzana netsuro. Handi unonzi chi ukada kudzinganidza tsuro 2 unodzishaya dzose ndizvo. Yes. Ukada kudzinganidza zvinhu 2 unozishaya zvese. Unofanira kuva ine one specific goal. So ndo tsoro dzakanorongwa neAustria-Hungary yakatoona kuti panapa haina zvainoita. Regai ndibva ndangotora Bosnia and Herzegovina zvibva zvangoita zvangu. So what was the case here? Right. So this move was a blow to Serbia. Why was it a blow to Serbia? Who wanted to acquire the 2 provinces. Serbia wanted to combine with Bosnia and Herzegovina. And remember, there were about nearly 3 million Serbs who were already living in what? In Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's why Serbia wanted to combine with Bosnia and Herzegovina. So Serbia was agitated by this move. Serbia was infuriated. She wasn't happy. Serbia was infuriated by this move. So what did Serbia do? Again, like I said, Serbia wanted to create a South Slav state, that is Yugoslavia. That is a union of Serbia with Bosnia and Herzegovina. Right. So Russia was also involved because Russia regarded itself as the father of the slave nation. She felt cheated by Austria since she failed to get international support of her plans for this trade. So again, another reason why Serbia also wanted to merge with Bosnia and Herzegovina, it is because she would be given access to what we call the Adriatic Sea. And remember at that time, when you are near a coast, right, when your country is near a sea, it means your economy would be better. Since most of the businesses were done around the coast or around the sea. So Serbia appealed for help for fellow Slavs. Serbia yakakumbira mamwe Slav nations for help. And again, Russia called for a European conference and expected support from Britain and France. But however, Russia did not get support from Britain and France. And again, Russia, as a friend to Serbia, could not support Serbia on this issue. Why? Because she was still nursing her wounds from the defeat she suffered in the hands of Japan, in the Russo-Japanese War of 1904. Serbia yaida auto revenge, yaitoda zvihondo, but yanga isikakwanisi kuzviita, yaitoda support. And the only country that could support her to get Bosnia and Herzegovina, it was only what? Russia. But that Russia was also weak. She couldn't support Serbia. Why? Because Russia was coming out of a war called the Russo-Japanese war. That's the point. So again, on the other hand, Germany threatened to give maximum support to Austria. Russia and Serbia gave in. So Germany gave support to Austria-Hungary. Remember Austria-Hungary, that's when she started to be reckless. And it also led to the outbreak of the war. In simple showing, Austria-Hungary yanga yakutabasa rekutena dzimwe nyika. Ichitemba Germany. So although Britain and France did not recognize the annexation of Bosnia and Herzegovina by Austria-Hungary, they were not even prepared to help Russia. Hapana nyika yanga prepared at that time. So neither Russia nor Serbia was prepared to risk war with Germany over the issue. So at the end of the day, Austria-Hungary kept what? Bosnia and Herzegovina. At the end of the day, Austria-Hungary kept Bosnia and Herzegovina. Much to the chagrin of Serbia. Serbia was not happy. And that's when the feud or the rift or the hatred that was there between Serbia and Austria-Hungary was worsened after this what? After this crisis. Right. So how did it contribute to the World War? Number one, all the countries which did not fight at that time ended up saying, Next time pakaitika hondo hatisuzoramba. Tikuda kutozoita hondo. So this means the countries began to increase their strength and their army. That's when we also touch on the topic of what? Of militarism, right? Of arms and naval race. The countries began to what? To like boost their militaries. They began to increase their armies. They began to increase their weapons. And it also worsened the relations between Germany and Russia to an extent that the next confrontation was going to be what? To be bloody. And it increased the tension between Serbia and Austria-Hungary to an extent that if those countries would be given a platform to fight in the future, they were bound to fight. To an extent again that Serbia ended up forming some anti-Austrian organizations. For example, this one called what? The Black Hand Society. The Black Hand Society is the one which executed the Sarajevo incident of 28 June 1914. This was established by what? By Serbia against what? Against Austria. So that was how it related to the formation of the Black Hand Society. After the Bosnian crisis, Serbia Austria, but after that Bosnian crisis, so that's it for the Bosnian crisis. Next lesson we are going to touch on militarism, arms and naval race.